Welcome back, guys. It's your boy Chad, King Chad, and we're here again with another video. We're taking a break from the Game of Thrones, House of Dragons type stuff, and we're going to one of the other most critically acclaimed series in television history, and especially of the 21st century, and that is, of course, Breaking Bad. Today, we're going to discuss the 5 worst characters in the history of Breaking Bad, and I have a wonderful co-host, an expert here. This is Farhat. Say hi to the people, Farhat.
Hi.
And we're going to jump right into this and get started with the easy one, the obvious one, the one you all thought was going to be number 1 on this list. Coming in at number 5 for me, we have Skyler. For me personally, the moment that clearly sets Skyler up as the number 1 villain in the show, the person who I was going to like the least pretty early on, and obviously there's other characters later on who eclipsed her somehow, otherwise we wouldn't have this list. But to me, the defining moment was when she smoked a cigarette while pregnant. When I saw her do that, I realized that she was going to sort of be the embodiment of selfishness. To me, she really just, in that moment, established that she did not care about anybody else more than her own wants and desires. And that's sort of a theme that we see in a lot of other characters. I mean, Walt, in particular, the protagonist of the series, he chooses himself and his desire to be a drug lord over that of his entire family. Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. There's going to be spoilers throughout this whole thing. Probably should have said that on the front end, but hey, spoiler alert. I'll put it on screen so they know. But big spoiler alert. But Skyler, in that moment, truly embodied the idea of selfishness, which I think is one of the true themes of the show, is the idea that selfishness and caring only about yourself will ultimately destroy you. If you're your own priority, eventually even that's not going to work out. You can't choose yourself always. We as humans have to live in community. Thoughts, Farah?
Um,
Specifically
Listen,
on the smoking
I
the
don't know.
cigarette and the selfishness.
I mean, yeah, it is maybe, but when you consider what she was going through and all the information she had to process by herself, I don't listen, it's bad. Yeah, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. Like I have many other reasons I'd list before I'd name that reason.
Wow, good to know. Okay, so I'm glad we got a little bit of back and forth there, a little debate, a little dialogue. I do think
Maybe
Skylar's
that's just me being an Arab who's like very biased when it comes to smoking.
you are a smoker. I would say it's more of the fact that you're a smoker than any ethnic reasons, but hey, it could be a million different things. But yeah, I mean, Skylar's being a selfish character is what I look at her as, especially in that moment. But there's a lot of other reasons to dislike her. You're right, in general though. But I mean, there's a reason she's only number 5 on this list. Ahead of her, we're gonna slide into it now. We're gonna get this going quickly for you guys. We have number 4, Walt's wife. Yup, that's right. That's right. You knew it was coming. This list is. All right, we got somebody laughing up a storm over here. Gotta sort of put a break in the audio so you guys can just enjoy the Windex wiper, the windshield wiper, the Windex bottle.
My bad.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You laugh like you smoke, just like Skylar. It's all good. But yeah, number 4 on the list. Yep, Skylar again. We got Walt's wife. Farad, what's the moment that made you hate Skylar? Give me one of the big
I
ones.
think one of the many moments that made me hate her was when the whole situation with Ted, I think his name is Ted, yeah. The whole giving him the money, him denying it, her forcing him to take the money, leaving him paralyzed, her having an affair with him, playing him honestly because that man really liked her and she just was not there for it. Her being a hypocrite when it comes to like Walt doing bad things and him doing bad things. She didn't care as much, I felt like. She tried to help him when she didn't try to help Walt. And yeah, I mean, they are on different like spectrums of bad, I guess, their actions, but still. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one thing that affects a lot of people watching this show. You see it online a lot, I think, particularly in online discussions and even in face to face discussions I've had with friends about this series, is just the idea that they hate Skylar much more than they hate Walt. Even though Walt's actions, in theory, destroyed the family unit much more than Skylar's ever
Mm-hmm.
did, it's just easier to hate on someone who's doing personal, petty level evil things that you've seen in real life, being cheated on, being manipulated, being played, led on, led astray, used romantically. All of these things are things that we as people sort of deal with on a day-to-day basis, and it's those
Yeah.
smaller, more realistic, more grounded evils that I think it makes us easier for us to hate. You know, a lot of people have more hate for their boss than they maybe do for some world leader who's responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths. And it's like we know which one's more evil, you know, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But when
That's
it
actually really good thinking.
Absolutely. But when it comes down to it, the boss who's, you know, making you do his work at work and taking credit for everything you do, that person's easier to hate just because you have a direct relationship to that. And when you hear someone of your friends complaining, you're like, oh, same thing's happening to me. Same thing has happened to me in the past. And it's easier to empathize with that. And I mean, that's the thing. We think of empathy as a positive, as, oh, I feel what you feel. I understand you. But empathizing can also be negative. It can be, oh, I hate this person because I've been in a similar situation and I've hated that person. If you're a high empathy
Mm-hmm.
person, you can become a very hateful person just by always looking at somebody and seeing somebody you've seen before, seeing somebody you've hated before. But yeah, I think we've given enough to Skylar then, and specifically her relationship with Ted and her petty evils. It's time to move on to number 3 on our list, and this is going to be Walt Jr.'s mother. Yep, there it is. We're locked in again. I think you guys are sort of getting the theme of this list now. If you stuck around this long, the theme of this list is that Skylar is by far the worst character in Breaking Bad. She's done a lot of terrible things. She's very easy to hate. If you're a high empathy person, you should be empathizing with me right now because I hate Skylar and everything she's done and the entire way she was characterized throughout the series. Her actress did a great job, though. I'll say that much. Her actress made me hate her, which is interesting because I think the creators of the show have said that they wanted her to be sort of a dynamic figure, a figure who wasn't completely black or white, was morally gray, was realistic and grounded. But ultimately, I did not feel that way about her at all. She is my least favorite character in the series, and I believe she's yours too, Farad. And go ahead and provide us to another reason
Mm-hmm.
why.
Okay, let's talk about how she tried to victimize herself, I guess, in a way, when she tried to pretend that she's so tired of everything and she wanted to what's the word, unalive herself by going into the pool
You could
when
say kill.
Hank and Marie were there.
You could say kill. My channel's not
I
that
thought
big.
you couldn't.
My channel's not
Okay,
that big. You can
whatever.
say whatever you
Anyway.
want.
Okay. Yeah, when she tried to go into the pool pretending that she's gonna kill herself when Hank and Marie were there, and she caused a scene when her kids were there. So I'm like, yeah, that actually comes back to her being so selfish, so self-centered, and just, oh, I can't even think about it without getting pissed off because she tried to spin the whole thing and victimize herself when she was just as complicit, and it actually backfired, which I like that. So maybe it's a good thing at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you're really hitting the nail on the head here with another point. Another reason I think Skylar is the most hated character in Breaking Bad is just the idea of accountability. You know, Walt, he becomes
Mm-hmm.
evil. He becomes a villain. He becomes somebody who hurts people and takes actions that result in the deaths of people and just the degrading quality of life of thousands of people with his meth empire. But Skylar never really takes accountability. She has a self victimization complex about her that I don't think we ever really see in Walt or most of the other characters. You know, even Gus, like they're all, even Jesse, all of them are bad people to a high extent, but all of them acknowledge that they're bad, that their actions are morally wrong in the grand scheme of things of people being hurt. But
Mm-hmm.
they take solace in their selfishness and the idea that yeah, I'm doing wrong, but I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it or pretend that I'm anything but what I am. You know, we get one of those iconic scenes with Jesse where, you know, he doesn't want them to kill little children. He's okay with doing a drug empire that hurts a lot of people, but when it comes to the people in his immediate life that he's immediately seeing, he doesn't want to take part in those things because that's not who he is. And maybe that is hypocritical. Maybe it is to a degree him trying to justify that he's not a bad person to himself, you know, morally overall, you know, that he has good aspects still, but he never tries to hide from
Mm-hmm.
the fact that as a drug user and drug dealer, he is a bad person. He never tries to dodge accountability. Anybody who calls him out for that, he's like, yeah, this is who I am. And Walt, he tries to justify it a little bit himself with his, you know, taking care of his family, things like that. But at the end of the day, he likes being who he is and he likes the sense of power, and he just takes full accountability for that. We never get anything like that from Skylar.
Yeah, I think, okay, just like to touch on something you mentioned, like about Jesse and how he like hates when children get hurt, which is definitely fair. Even not like in immediate relation to him, because remember when that blonde guy, I forgot his name, he shot a kid in the desert because he saw them while they were like stealing methylamine. Whatever. Point is, I for a long time while watching the show, I did not comprehend why, which is gonna sound ridiculous, I know, but I did not comprehend why make like cooking drugs and just like being a drug dealer is so bad and so criminal. Like I could not get it. Like I know addiction, everything, but it's just like on it used to be on like a whole other level when it's compared to murder. But then I started thinking about like the overdoses, the everything about when it comes to that. And remember he killed like I mean he didn't kill him, but he got him killed, the guy with the drug addiction, him and his wife, remember?
Yeah, there's a lot of characters throughout the series
Yeah.
who
But at
dies.
the same time they had a kid and he was nice to the kid. So it's just like you said, it's just like people trying to justify what they do. But like you'll never know if they're trying to justify it or if they're actually like just have like I don't know, boundaries, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. There's the binary divide within their minds of morals. The idea that
Mm-hmm.
these actions that may hurt people are fine because I'm taking because I needed to take those to advance my own life, to put myself in a position I needed to be in. And these ones aren't because there's no amount of protecting myself or being ambitious and wanting a better life that'll justify killing a child, for instance. That's sort of an extreme example. So we do have a lot of characters like that, and that's another one of the themes of the show, I would say, is just this strict divide in morality that occurs with certain things and where those lines get drawn for different characters. So we're going to move on now. We're going to kind of lump numbers 4 and 5 together in the show, and I'm pretty sure you guys can guess who they are. It's Marie's sister and Hank's sister-in-law. These are our final two least favorite characters in the show, and it all comes back to number one, Skylar. Skylar is such a terrible, miserable character that I think ultimately she deserves all top 5 spots. If your list of people you hate in the show that doesn't include Skylar should start at number 6. Whoever you don't like, whoever you think is the big bad guy of the show, the Nazis, whoever, they're at the highest. They are the sixth worst character in the show. Skylar's 1 through 5, undoubtedly. And a big part of that, which I agree with, that Farad pointed out to me, is her relationship with her son and some of the things we see her do as involves Hank Jr. I'm sorry, Walt Jr. So go ahead and let us know some of the moments that really stuck out to you, Farad, as the reasons why she's not only a terrible wife, a terrible person, and just a terrible character. Well, great character, but easy to hate, but also a terrible mother.
Okay, as someone with mommy issues, not to overshare, but yeah. Um I every time Skylar would be that kind of mom who again is so selfish, so like she just does not care about anyone but herself. Every time I would see her actions, especially when it comes to Walt Jr., who has cerebral palsy, which is just, it's so sad to me that he had to go through this. And I just blame her. Okay, of course I blame Walt, but at at the end, I just blame her for not, okay, the way she told him when Marie was there, the way she told him was disgusting. I don't think it was fair at all for Walt not to be there. The way she tried to manipulate him into thinking like Walt was trying to kill her at like the final episodes. Um, the way, okay, this is like nothing compared to the things I mentioned, but when Walt got Walt Jr. a car for his birthday and she was like, no, return it. It's just like a whole bunch of things that just, because when it came to her spending the money and giving it to Ted like it was nothing, it was fine. But when it was to Walt Jr., and it's just the fact that, okay, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I do believe that Walt only did this for his family. And I don't know. Like,
Strongly
maybe
disagree.
he got way too into his head. Okay, wait, let me finish my thought. Maybe he got at the end way into his head because of the whole like gray matter thing. But I do believe that he started for his son, and I don't think it was fair that he couldn't explain it to Walt Jr.
Maybe I have a different view on this because I am American and a lot of these things are baked into sort of the American psyche. But I view this show as really an exploration of a self destructive midlife crisis. Well, I guess technically for Walt, it's an end of life crisis, but realistically, I think this is truly a midlife crisis. I think his motivations for getting into the drug game, however you want to describe it, I believe was entirely selfish. I believe he wanted to feel a sense of power, to feel potent, to feel as if he had the ability to impact the world and make things he wanted to happen.
Really?
Yeah, I think he wanted to feel like the guy, and I think
Do you
Skyler.
think he would have done it if he didn't have cancer?
No, I think he would have died impotent and hated himself and thought he was worthless and should have been more his whole life, which is what a lot of people in America end up like. Hey, there's a chance I might end up like that if this YouTube channel doesn't blow up. But just in general, I think Skylar failed to recognize that. And I think she's 50-50. It's strange because that's the thing. As much as I hate her, her one good thing, her one good quality, I will say, is I think she calls him out on a lot of the lies he tells both himself and other people. Skylar does call him out. Sometimes she's calling him out on stuff that's wrong and that she shouldn't be doing, and just in her own personal life, she's a selfish, nasty person. But in general, I think she's closer to the truth, her character, than you are. I don't think he did it for his family. I think she tried to twist it and make it so that what he was doing could work for their family. But I think at the end of the day, he just wanted to feel powerful and feel like the man. And that's interesting. You know, we did a real deep character analysis on Skylar, the person I think is the worst, 1 through 5 on the top 5 terrible characters in the
Wait,
show.
I have an honorable mention.
Honorable mention, go ahead.
It won't be Skylar. I thought that I would say that, but it's Marie actually, her sister. I hated her guts literally from the first episode.
Makes sense.
And I still do, yeah.
I mean, Skylar's so bad that just being related to her will get you a couple slots higher on the most hated list, I feel like. Yeah, honestly, we might have to really, we might have to think about throwing Walt Jr. on this list too, because he's got half that DNA. Oh, and the baby? Yeah, baby's definitely ended up on the next list. Well,
that baby is so annoying, bro. That baby came out of nowhere, just ruined everything.
Hey, honestly, the more I think about it, she might take Skylar's number 5 spot away and put herself there. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you for joining me as my co-host, Farad. I hope you all enjoyed this. I know I did, and I always love having you on. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and go ahead and comment down below who you think is, if you agree or disagree with our top 5, go ahead, and if you disagree, tell me who your top 5 is. All right, thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.